we have to remember is that we all pretty much agree that the amnesty that Obama wrote into, just with his pen, decided out of the air to make. We all agree that that's unconstitutional. We all agree that that's wrong. We are all on the same team there on that side of things.
So
It was just
basically,
the only
your
disagreement that we have
is
is
how to fight
on
it.
is not how to fight it. It's we agree on how to fight it. This one little side plan to the broader plan in general. That's the thing. This is like a tiny little hunk of a plan that I would have preferred didn't happen the way it happened. That's it. It's a tiny thing. We should not be at each other's throats over this, and that's what too often it seems is the case.
My problem is that I don't know what McConnell's plan is. I don't know what John Boehner's plan is. What is the plan? If they're against amnesty, like they say they are, if they believe that Barack Obama's, though it wasn't even an executive order, what was it? It was a memo, or it was, who knows what it is that Barack Obama did. But whatever it is, it's absolutely unconstitutional. If impeachment is off the table, if shutting down the government is off the table, if symbolic votes are off the table, what is the plan to stop a president from making himself a king? That's what I want to know. What are they going to do? What's the plan? They need to let us know.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're going to keep finding a lot of people feeling very disenfranchised and believing, they're beyond speculating. We have a lot of people who are, really diehard Tea Partiers who believe that some of these people are in on it, so to speak. And I'm not there. I'm not there. But there's a part of me that wonders. That's where I live. That's the culture in which I am. I don't have the same perspective, perhaps, of somebody who lives on the Eastern Coast. I understand that there are cultural differences, even just among the states. But, that's the way that I'm seeing it. That's the way I'm hearing it. So
Well,
I
I
want to
guess
know what the plan is.
I agree with you on that, and so this is what I would ask Jersey, because I think this is where we get into sort of the meat or the heart of the matter. I understand where Jersey comes from, that he's opposed to a symbolic vote. He doesn't feel that it moves things forward, and I think that that's actually a worthwhile discussion to have, and it's actually we've been having it. My question then though is that. How do you communicate to those people that are feeling disenfranchised? Yes, there is something coming. There is something moving forward. Don't run away just yet. Don't take your ball and go home. We've got a plan, because right now there's a lot of people feeling like the leadership just doesn't have a plan and they're in on it. And so my question then is that what is the, if we're left to speculate, we don't know what that plan is, but how do we know? Because there's the old saying, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. And John Boehner, bless his heart, has fooled us multiple times, more than just once, more than just twice, and he said, no, we're going to get him on the next time around. And he has established a pattern of always saying, no, we'll do it on the next fight. Well, he now controls the House. He's now going to have a Senate that is Republican controlled as well, and further control the House. So from 2010 to 2014, he's only established one plan, which is we'll fight him the next time around. It's like he's waiting until all of the houses are Republican, then he can actually do something. But at that point, he's lost all his credibility. So how do you communicate to these people that something good is coming when the Republican leadership, in the form of John Boehner and somewhat Mitch McConnell, but to be fair to him, he was in a Senate where he was minority leader, and he will soon get to be majority leader. But how do you communicate to them, even though there's a lot of distrust, we need to still believe that way? Where is that line? And I'm gonna focus on Jersey, and anyone else jump in.
Well, here's the first thing that I wanna get at is that you're saying how are we going to sort of build that trust I don't think that you're asking for something from the leadership, and Ted Cruz is not. He's not a part of the establishment leadership. That's just not how it is. So this
True.
This vote isn't coming from the leadership. It's coming from Ted Cruz. So any opposition to the vote itself, or saying that it's a waste of time or whatever, doesn't even it causes more of an issue as far as this disenfranchisement goes. That's the problem, is that having this thing happen, having this vote happens, it actually causes some disenfranchisement, because there are people who we have on our side who are on the establishment, whatever, where it's not good for them politically to fight for this vote. It's not good for them politically to fight for this ceremonial, vestigial vote. That's the thing. It causes more of that. It causes more of that disenfranchisement, because then you have the radio show hosts, you have the ultra conservatives out there. Ultra conservatives, not you have the guys who make money off of causing this kind of ruckus between the Tea Party and the establishment. Get all loud and shouty about, oh, well, these guys didn't even support Ted Cruz and Mike Lee, and they're turning on them. No, disagreement in tactics. That's it. Can we please get past that?
Oh, okay. So we have a disagreement in tactics, but here's where I hear people from this point of view coming from, and I can't say that I'm that far from the camp. If anything, I'd be just down the street from it, which is to say that they see that what Ted Cruz is doing. They understand that it's a procedural vote, but ultimately you're not going to win it, and they understand that. But they feel like for the first time their voice is being heard, and as a result, they fall in love with that, because it's like, finally, my voice is being heard, and not only is my voice being heard, but I feel like in the form of Ted Cruz, the things that I've been shouting for years are finally being said on the Senate floor, and I desperately want them said, and I desperately want other people to hear them, especially the Republican leadership. And then what happens is people turn and say, oh, no, you can't say that because, procedurally it's wrong, or the tactics are all wrong. But at the same time, we feel like, hey, we're finally making a dent. We're finally doing something. And yet you say, well, the tactic there is really just...
But are you doing something? I guess that's the crux of it, is, are you actually doing something? Are you actually accomplishing anything? And to me, the answer is no.
And here's where I get sketchy on this. In Texas, for example, and I'm going to take this out of the realm of Washington just for a second. In Texas, for example, we have a Senate that has had 19 senators out of 31. You need 21 in order to pass anything without consulting the other side, without working with the other side. It's a rule they've had for a long time. In the House has been in Republican hands 4, 5, 6 sessions now, something like that, and once by an overwhelming number of 150 or 100 Republicans to 50 House members. So in the House in Texas, you had huge numbers of Republicans who could pass anything they wanted to that would make them look extra special good when they went home. And they did it from a safe perspective because they knew that the Senate didn't have to pass it, that there were enough Democrats to vote against those things so that they didn't have to actually enact things. Here's the downside for them. Nothing. They can pass whatever they want, as bold as they please, and then know that they don't have to be held responsible because it's never going to hit the other house. There's some of that, I think, going on in the federal government level. You've had this House in Republican hands for a few years now, and it's been very politically safe to pass whatever they want, knowing the Senate is never going to pass it because it is in Democrat hands. You are going to see a different dynamic coming in January when you have both houses, and all of a sudden there are things that need to pass that both houses can say they support, but they've got to follow through now. Up to now, most everything that was ever done in terms of votes in Washington for the past 4 or 6 years has been done for political and posturing and image purposes. I'm just saying that. I'm just laying it out there. Now they're going to have to govern. That's a big step. It's going to take a while to transition from that former way, moving into the new way. And additionally, one thing that we need to think about as well with these guys, we know they're not good at messaging. We know they're not good at understanding the themes and resonating with the grassroots. We know they have trouble with those things. We have got to be in communication with them now, while they haven't quite made that transition yet, so that they're listening to us when we go into the next session. We need to be in touch with their offices. We need to be the people that get invited to their local meetings when they come home. We need to be the people that see their staffers and know them by name. And anybody who is worried about what their senator or their congressman is doing, that is one of the best ways you can begin to get your voice heard and not have to depend on Ted Cruz to say it into an empty chamber in the Senate, but have that actually be a staffer having looked you in the eye and told you something, and then if you're lied to, they're going to be able to be held accountable for that. That representative is going to be able to be held accountable for that. We've sat back and watched like spectators for far too long, and all of us, every single one of us, needs to start being regular visitors, regular communicators, regular callers to those offices. Yes, it sucks, but how important it is that they hear you and know your face and know your name, and then it gives them a point of contact, someone to whom to be accountable. We have let them run roughshod for too long. We have let them worry about those other things and build safe little kingdoms for them where they're not challenged. We need to be in touch far more often than we are, and that they are not responsive to us, in part, is our fault.
Yeah, and I think you're touching on a couple of pretty important, well, one important concept that has two big effects. One is our politicians are much more likely to do what we want them to do if they see us as supporting them and being in favor of them, because you want to help people that are nice to you. I am not inspired to help somebody who is yelling at and about me all the time. I'm inspired to help people that are nice and friendly, and I will support them and they will support me, and it becomes a mutual happy thing. And that doesn't mean that I have to be always supportive of my legislator, but the Mark Levin approach, I don't think it's going to win him I don't think it's going to get a lot of Congress people to want to, oh, well, what does Mark Levin have to say about that? What does Mark Levin want me to do? Well, Mark's always going to yell at you and about you and scream at you and scream about you, so who cares? I want to please somebody that I have the opportunity to please. If I know that you're never ever going to be happy with what I'm doing, I'm not going to care what you think, because you're always going to hate me anyway. So I'm going to try to please you if I believe that there's a way that I can please you.
And that's not to say, I got to say this because I know you're saying this with this intention. That is not to say that we necessarily think that the world ought to work that way, but that is in fact how humans behave.
Yeah, absolutely, it's human nature. And so, it behooves us to be the nice person that they want to do nice stuff for. And by the flip side, what we want is someone who's on our side. And that's why the Mike Lee, Ted Cruz, and sometimes Rand Paul branch of the Republican Party is so appealing to us, because we feel like they agree with us. What we get from Republican leadership is they agree with the Democrats and the media and Obama, and they're telling us what we should do. Well, I put you there. I want to know that there's somebody up there that agrees with me and that is on my side. I want them to be on my side because they've asked me to be on theirs, and I have been. I was a massive, massive cheerleader for this recent election. And no, it's not like I got them elected, but I was I spend an